Hey, what's up everybody? It's Zach and I'm back with another vlog. How have your summers been? I hope you're doing well. I've missed you. It's been a while since we've been here. There's something I want to talk to you guys about this week. Every now and then, people come up to me and they ask me about like how to give notes. A lot of people screw this up. A lot of people just don't know how to give notes. And more importantly, a lot of people don't know how to receive notes. It's one of those things where you need experience in order to know how to do it, but you won't know how to do it until you get the experience. And that's why I want to talk to you about this today. These are my thoughts on notes. This is how I like to operate when I'm in a room and we're giving and receiving notes. This is what I think. Feel free to reject what I think. First of all, what are notes? And I'm not talking like notes that like I have like handwritten notes here. No, but I mean like notes with a capital N. Notes are an intellectual handshake between two creators. This is 100% a creator to creator conversation in order to express our thoughts and ideas about a piece of work objectively. This is a peer-to-peer relationship. Once we assume the role as an audience member, then we can no longer give notes because we're in a different viewing relationship with the piece of work. I get it. Everyone can go online and rant and rave about their favorite Marvel movie or what they hated about this new film that came out, and Star Wars sucks and Iron Man 7 was terrible. And that's all well and good. You can say whatever the hell you want, but those are not notes. If you were to have a chance encounter with your idol creator, you are part of their audience. You are not in a notes-giving relationship with them. You're not their peer. So therefore, you can only give notes if there's mutual respect between you and the other person. And that's why I like to call it an intellectual handshake, because it only works if it works both ways. Forgive a very crude analogy of this, but it's a lot like sexual consent. You cannot give notes to someone if they don't want notes given to them. Only when both parties agree that notes can be exchanged can we begin giving and receiving notes. And if we reach a point where the other person no longer wishes to have notes, then you must stop giving notes. So that's kind of an overview of what notes are. Let's talk about what a note is. A note is an objective statement. It is an observation. It's scientific. It's very mathematical in that sense. What a note is not is your opinion. And this is the most important thing that I think a lot of first-time note givers don't understand, is that when we're giving notes to someone, I'm not telling you my opinion. I'm not telling you what I liked about it. I'm not telling you what I disliked about it. What you like and what you don't like has nothing to do with what works and what does not work in a piece. Because the second we start talking about something on what I like and what I don't like, I'm now speaking about your work on my terms, with the lens of this is how I would do it. And that's just not productive at all. That's just not how it works, because I have to view your piece of work on your terms. But for any of you comedians out there, or just improv people, you have to yes and the work that's in front of you. You have to look at it or read it or listen to it or whatever you're gonna do, and before you utter a single word of notes, in your mind, you have to accept it for what it is before we can talk about it. The way you give notes is a very specific way. You have to phrase this properly. This worked for me because this. That's how you really, like, that's where a helpful note comes in. Sure, we can express, did this meet our personal taste? Did we like this? And that's kind, that's friendly. That is a courtesy. I want to talk about something as, is this functioning? And if it's functioning well, you need to tell someone it's functioning well. You should always start with what is working. On the one hand, that creates a layer of trust between you and I. As the depressed, psychotic artists that we are, we feel a little better about ourselves, but also it means that I was paying attention. That part over there that like you laughed at Right, that is where that joke is supposed to land. Perfect. That functioned as a joke properly. So that's why it's important to talk about, first and foremost, what worked. Because not only are we creating this layer of trust between us, but again, we're highlighting areas that the artist can continue to develop because we've identified that they know how to make it function properly, and therefore encouraging them to continue to develop those successful areas. Now, giving notes about what does not work. And I think it's this part of the conversation that everyone immediately jumps to, forgetting that there are several steps for us in order to get here. So when you talk about something that did not work, you need to say, this didn't work for me, and why. Here's why. This is the reason that this thing did not work for me. Was a joke not funny for you? Did it not invoke the proper response? Did it not function laughter? If it didn't for you, that's very good to express it, and you need to express it because we are trying to help each other get better here. But if you can't explain why it didn't function, then that's not helpful. Just pointing out, oh, that was broken. This was bad. This didn't work. Okay, why? If me as the note giver can't articulate that reason, then that note serves no purpose. Because then it's just like throwing spitballs in the back of the room, and that's not something that the note receiver can then take and work with. We don't offer solutions to the problem. We're here to identify what is not working, and then let the creator come up with a solution that works for them on their terms, that makes sense for their project. Prescriptive notes, on the other hand, are just not helpful. What a prescriptive note is basically me telling you what you should do to fix the problem, what you should change in this thing to fix it. Obviously, if someone asks for a suggestion, then yes, again, if they consent to prescription, then we can do prescription. But if they don't consent to it, you should not do it. Giving a prescriptive note creates a binary yes or no to the solution. That's why when we talk about something that does not work, we identify a functional problem and let the creator determine their own solution for it. The second I say this is the only way to solve it, they can either do it that way or they won't. And if they don't, and it's most likely the case that they will not agree with your opinion on how to solve the problem, then that's just a wash. That we might as well have not even had this conversation because that creator is in the same place they were 5 seconds ago. Now here is the other half of that handshake. On the receiving end. How do I receive notes from you? So rule number 1 for being a note receiver, listen. Actually pay attention to what they are telling you, because they are telling you something for a reason. My biggest pet peeve on the planet is when someone asks for notes, and then you give them notes, and you give them proper notes, and then they completely fight you on it. They disagree on everything. They have an answer for every little thing. Oh, this is why, an excuse for this and that and the other. Shut up. You asked me here to talk to you about this thing. Being defensive over a piece of work is the bane of everyone's existence. That's the first sign that A, you're not handling this in a professional manner, and B, it's like, why are we even here if you're not even going to listen to what I'm going to tell you? Now, I've been in some writers' rooms where they have this thing where it's like the person can't respond. And I think that's a little overkill, where it's like, oh, if there's a rule in the room, like, oh, the writer does not respond to notes. This is a dialogue. This is a conversation. You know, I have to be able to, if I have questions about something, and the way I like to give notes a lot are in questions, because it's kind of like, you know, it's almost like I'm setting them up to discover the answer. It's like volleyball, because if we can discuss something, I think we can dig a little deeper than if we strictly stay on the surface level of notes. Not everyone is great at giving notes. And just naturally, you're going to get a lot of shitty notes from people. But what's important for you as the listener is to try to identify the note behind the note. they might tell you something like, oh, this didn't work for me because this, or probably more often than not, I didn't like this because this wasn't funny. Like, it's something like that, right? So that's why listening is really important, because you need to be able to take stuff in and then internally process it in a way that makes sense for you. Because not every note is helpful. One feels compelled to address every single note that everyone gives. And that's just as bad as not giving any notes at all. Yeah, I mean, I think that if we can practice having this intellectual handshake with each other, I think we as creators are all going to be in a better place. We need to know how to do this. This is part of our job, is discussing the process with one another in the proper way. You know, like we need to all get better at talking to someone about their work on their work's terms. Not only as creators, but also as audience members. I'm going to loop that back in for a second. I think we as creators, when we assume the role of an audience member, we're inherently critical. Like, we're almost overcritical. Because we are not a peer with that filmmaker. And we forget that sometimes. That we, as audience members, need to learn how to be good audience members. And meet that piece of work within the world that piece of work is living in. Just as when we're giving notes to someone, we have to yes and what they're doing, I think it's very important for us as audience members and as fans to accept the work on its terms. We might not like it, but we cannot attack it for being what it is. I think I'm going to leave you at that because I'm running out of steam here, and I probably have talked in circles for a while. But thank you so much for checking this out. If you want more tips and tricks about filmmaking and writing and directing and stuff, write in the comments below what you want me to talk about. I'm going to try to do more of these now that I'm back in New York after my crazy summer of running around. And hopefully we will talk to you soon. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit that like button. There's a little bell that you can hit that'll like let you know when I upload videos. Please do that because that way you can see when I put stuff up. Also, we have a show on our other channel, our sketch comedy show. That's coming back at the end of the month. Please check out that show as well. But until next time, guys, keep on doing it live, and I will talk to you all soon.